Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Aravaipa Rides podcast. With me today is Brian Murphy, president of the West Valley Trail Alliance.
Correct.
Thanks for coming out.
Absolutely. Happy I could be here.
Yeah. I don't know how much rain you got coming in here. It was actually dry at my house. And then by the time I was about halfway here, all of a sudden it was pouring on my car. So yeah. I don't know what your drive-in, your commute was today, but thanks for being here.
Absolutely. I'm glad I could make it.
Yeah. Before we get into too much of anything, I just want to give you a huge thank you, a huge shout out. For those of you who don't know, and I'm sure it's many of you listening, Brian was a big advocate for us in moving our hypnosis trail race into the Estrella Regional Park this year. In the past, we've always been relegated to the comp track on that particular park, and it's a good track. It's a good rugged course, but it can definitely be a little bit grueling. And there's some trails that are inside the park that are a little bit nicer, a little bit more fun to do 12 hours of racing on. As well as our sister running event is inside the park the very next night. So logistically, having two events just a few miles down the road from each other is a little rough. So Brian was a big advocate. He has the ear of a lot of the park rangers and associates out there, and he was from the outside speaking as we were as well, trying to sway them a little bit. So big thanks for that.
Absolutely glad I could help.
We had so much feedback from the racers this year about how great the course was.
Excellent.
Obviously, we'll be applying for the same next year when we do that to get back into the park too, and hopefully they saw the value of having us there.
Yeah, I think so. Those trails are so much different than the comp track. Yeah. I like the comp track. I love it, but it's not a race for everybody by any stretch.
Yeah. And I believe we were talking sometime earlier this summer about it. You said that that's one of your next pet projects is to kind of start to get some work done on that comp track, make it a little bit more fun, if you want to say.
If anything, not change what's existing, but make it so that we're working on hopefully another trail. We'll see if we can pull it through.
Yeah.
That's a little more beginner friendly, because if you can ride the beginner trail there, then there's plenty of options there to up your skill level.
Right.
You'll find something a little more challenging, all within a nice little compact area. So we'll see. It's a long road, but I think maybe by next year we'll see. I hope so.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Looking forward to it. All right, let's jump into it. I know you've got some big news here. There was a recent meeting out on your side of town with the park in Estrella. So I'm going to let you give me all the details, because I wasn't there, wasn't part of it, and I've heard just kind of a little rumors here and there. But love to hear more about what's going on, this golf course expansion and what's going on out there.
Yeah, it's an interesting deal. I was unable to go to that meeting itself. I had some of our board members went, had a lot of other friends went, and they asked some questions in my place, and also just put their own opinion in. The Tres Rios golf course, if you don't know, out of Estrella Mountain Regional Park, and it's right adjacent to it. And it's been changed ownership. It's not actually owned. The land itself is owned by the regional park, which I didn't know that. I learned that within the last couple of weeks.
Right.
So the golf course leases that land. Their previous leaseor just disappeared. So the park got neglected. And the gentleman that has come in with the funds and started something called the Junior League, I think it's Junior National, maybe that's the right term. They don't have a website or anything yet, because they're just now getting their feet into it. He caddied there years ago as a younger man.
Oh.
And he held this place holds something special in his heart, because it kind of steered him the right way.
Sure.
What I learned from the gentleman that's in charge of the project itself, and they want to take the course, redo what's there, and then there was a plan many years ago, I guess, to behind there to the south side to expand the course into two. I think it's 18 holes. I'm not a golfer, so I don't know exactly what their plan is.
Sure.
But that plan is going to maybe not remove the trails, but move several trails that would be impacted. And some of those trails are gateway trails right behind a nature center. You go about a mile in, and they're going to be moved. And it's not like you can pick up a trail and just move it. There has to be the right terrain.
Sure.
Yeah, it's like anywhere else. You can't just go, let's move it over there. Well, that may not work over there, so now what do we do? But from what I understand, the meeting itself was actually very positive.
Okay.
Way different than what we expected. It was not confrontational, which sometimes those get that way.
Sure.
You get mountain bikers there, and you get other user groups, and everybody starts bashing heads. And I was hoping that didn't happen, and it didn't, which is really good.
Awesome.
It sounds like it could be a mutually beneficial thing. It's not something, and we opposed it as it was presented.
Okay.
At the initial time. However, now that might change. If it's a win-win, I mean, you got to be able to give and take, and that's just an important part of the process, and that doesn't always happen, and hopefully we can get that to happen. And the good thing is initially they had slated this meeting after the public meeting they were going to do a online park commission meeting, and usually we can get to those. And they moved the meeting from August all the way to September 27th. So obviously
Okay.
they got some feedback that they need to research and go, okay, well, this might be a bigger study that needs to be done before we actually jump into this. So that was
Gotcha.
huge.
Yeah.
That was really nice to see. That I just learned that just a little bit ago. So I hadn't looked to see what kind of feedback they've given yet. And
Okay.
that means they're reading the notes,
Yeah.
which is important. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's the start right there. The expansion itself, I'd like to see something written. There's really nothing written. They just put these pictures out there, which look nice for a golf course, but there's
Right.
no written plan. Like, who's going to pay for the trails? Where are they going to move them? How are we going to? Will they be moved before the golf course expansion? Say they run out of funds and they start digging their golf course. Now we have no trails and no golf course. Can't have that. So
Right.
I'm hoping that the regular users of the park get what they need first, and then do the golf course if that's the case, because that's water use and all that. That's above my understanding. That's
Sure.
not my job. I can't do that.
Right.
Yeah. So that's kind of the short of it.
Okay. Did they explain, or was there something in the meeting or who they were going to use for doing the trail work itself?
Yeah, and the trail work itself probably be county staff.
Okay.
That's a whole other thing we get into later.
Sure.
But their trail crew consists of one right now,
Okay.
and they have. I mean, if you put all the parks together, it's like 300 plus miles of trail. Plus
Right.
the Maricopa Trail, it's like 500, and there's one guy. So there's supposed to be two, but I mean, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, that's a drop in the bucket. So that's something we have to figure out. And then who pays for like the cultural resource study? Every trail that needs to be built has a cultural resource study, and they run a 20-foot corridor on either side.
Yep.
Who pays for that? And supposedly the golf course and the gentleman that's there said he's willing. He's more than happy to pay for that. And that's the guy that with the funding the project.
Okay.
And then I also met. We had a public meeting, just the West Valley Trail Lines, prior to the golf course meeting at the regional park.
Sure.
And the gentleman that's in charge of the project, seeing the project through, actually attended that too.
Okay.
Which was great. So
Yeah.
we got a face-to-face, and he's very willing to work with us. And he's an outdoor person. He cycles, does hiking, so he kind of gets it a little bit, which is a benefit. But he's
Okay.
also a serious golfer too, so which is fine. That's okay. And
Sure.
We'll see how it goes. My fingers are crossed that we get a mutually beneficial thing, that if they pull it through, and they're not shoving it through, which is great. But once they pull it off, they're talking about mutually used access clubhouse,
Okay.
that kind of stuff. So that could be really cool. The potential's there. We'll see.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And what was the timeline on it? Do they have any kind of
I don't know if they don't have a build timeline. I mean, initially they were going to do that meeting, and they were shoving it through really fast, it seemed to us. And the first time we heard about it was when they posted on Facebook. Even the guy that was the gentleman in charge of the project was surprised they posted it. He didn't know that was coming either.
Okay.
So cart got before the horse a little bit, which that's fine.
Sure.
If they're going to do that, then that kind of gave us the opportunity to really put our voices there. We had I was told there were about 75, 80 people in that room,
Wow.
which is a lot.
Yeah.
That's great. And just for one little place, and I don't even know if all those people access that trail. Maybe they do, maybe they don't, but they were concerned enough to show up.
Right.
We had I know the NICA League was there.
Okay.
There were some kids there, and while Jen was there to hang out with them and show them what advocacy is like.
Yeah.
That was cool. But the timeline, there really isn't one. And that was my big concern, is there's no written, and nobody's written back. It's like,
Okay.
what is the written plan? And I don't think they know yet. I think it's a dream right now.
Okay.
maybe.
Gotcha.
So we'll see.
More to come.
Yeah, but they were very they want to help. If they can get what they need, they're willing to help get what we want.
Okay.
So hopefully it stays that way.
Yeah. Sounds promising.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's great news. I mean, good to hear, and we'll certainly keep our ears open for it. If there's anything, obviously reach out to myself or anyone else here at Aravaipa. Who, if we can attend future meetings too, or help
Definitely
advocate
will.
for it, because we have several races that are at Estrella. Not necessarily use all of those trails going that far out, but you never know. Bikes go a little bit further than the foot runners every once in a while. So you never know if a larger bike race might pop up in there in the future.
Yeah,
and
I would love to see that.
And we get out that way. Yeah.
It's a big hill still. That's another one. We
Yeah,
do a
for
whole
sure.
other podcast on that.
There you go. For sure. Awesome. Well, what else is going on with you guys in the West Valley Trail Alliance? Anything new?
Right now, we're going to focus. We got to start focusing more on one park. I think
Okay.
we need to have a meeting with our board. In the past, we've kind of tried to do both. We did White Tank and Estrella, and then we also work with private land managers, and we have
Okay.
a couple of those guys on our board. But those are difficult because you got to get the private land manager on board. So
Sure.
our focus is more in the parks. probably with Estrella, there's a trail that's on their master plan that they have a master trail plan. Each park
Okay.
is different,
Sure.
and they need to be the same, which is another problem.
Yeah.
So like White Tank does not have a master trail plan. You can pull up, but Estrella you can pull it up, and they have a drawing of where they'd like to have future trails.
Right.
And White Tank is totally different. It just says we'd like to put a trail in this general vicinity,
Okay.
which isn't helpful because when it's on the map, they say we want to build this trail right here, and we'll help pay for it.
Gotcha.
And there's a trail called 2-9 that runs off of Patterson.
Okay.
It's way south and runs into the mountains because right now Patterson runs all the way down to the south, and it's basically an out and back.
Yeah.
If you've been out there, you
Yeah.
know, like Homestead is no fun. It's always like right on the beach, and
Right.
nobody likes right on the beach. So
Yep.
you go there, and we'll hopefully build that. Hopefully get some comp track improvements where we can have a trail where the high school league can race out there because they're overwhelming White Tank right now.
Okay.
And that's a request from the county. They reached out to us.
Okay.
They would like to see it move. I don't know how soon that would be, but they overwhelm the park because there's so many racers. It just gets too crowded. So those are the focus things right now. And then obviously our trail days. We always do trail days.
Mm-hmm.
We usually partner with NBAA on those. We're going to also partner with NICA in January. That we do one out there at the Comp Loop. Comp Loop's in really good shape for the White Tanks, but it's still good to teach the kids, proper how to trail maintenance, and more just seeing that trails don't build themselves. And after the monsoon we've had, and prior to this, the last couple of weeks have been pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's some work that needs to be done to get some water diversion and all that stuff. So
Yep.
That's the general plan right now.
Excellent. Yeah, I was out there last weekend, Sunday, I believe it was, riding our Vertigo course.
Yeah.
Which is the comp loop minus the not the competitive. What do they call it? The
tech loop
the
over
tech
there?
loop.
Yeah.
The tech loop. And it was in pretty good shape, so I didn't see anything that was too troublesome or worrisome at least for us in the next 2 weeks for the race.
Fine. It's been in really good shape, and it's getting a lot of use, and that's the other thing that
There
helps.
was a couple of teams
users.
when I was out there.
And the high school leagues are starting up, so they tend to practice there because it's closer for them. It's the easiest course for them to ride on.
Sure.
So,
Very nice. All right. Well, definitely. I know I managed to get out to a trail day last fall with you guys. I was hoping to bring a few more people, but it was we'll try. We'll keep getting it up. So keep bringing it up rather, and we'll try and do it again with you guys too. So let me know the calendar dates when we're offline here a little bit, and we'll try and get something for the fall or winter.
We got to get better at planning further ahead too. It's like I kind of my work schedule rotates, and it makes it tough. But I get some other people to step up and come in and run a trail day. 'Cause that's the hardest part is getting crew leaders. So if you know how to do trail work and you're out there and you're listening, we'd love to have you come out.
Sweet. Yeah. There you go. Calling all trail workers. Anything else that's new and improved out on the West Valley? New this year or newish?
There's the last trail, the Mountain Pass Trail out at the Comp Loop. We had that built a couple years ago, but it's finally really getting itself bedded in. It's actually really a lot of fun now. When it was first built, it's pretty soft. Anytime they build a new trail out there, it gets pretty soft. With that the golf course thing, if we can get it, we'd like to get some access. There's a access trail on the far south end from the park into the Estrella Mountain Ranch, which is the development up there.
Yeah.
That would recently change ownership, so that everything's kind of changed a little bit as to how we work with them for now. And hopefully, I think they see the benefit.
Yep.
So hopefully we can get another north access because we have a lot of problems with people cutting through various portions of the park and trying to tell them, explain to the park that, hey, if you give these people a set spot to go, you won't have 15 spider trails. You just have one spot, and they'll continue to use it. They're not going to cut their own.
Right.
That's a tough. They know that. It's a slow process. That's where the golf course was really a big surprise because it happens really fast because everything else seems to take forever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it moves real slow.
Gotcha.
But, outside of that, right now, we do have a new logo coming, which is cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's the first time I told anybody that, so that'll be cool.
All right.
We got everything designed. We just got to finish up and figure out how we're going to send it out there, and hopefully we get it out before the trail season and all that stuff begins before the first of the year.
Very cool.
So, yeah.
Well, if there's anything that you can share with me, again, offline afterwards, maybe we can get it up on the end of the video podcast, so we can debut it or whatnot if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
If you have something to share, that'd be cool. So you were just saying, and you had alluded to it earlier, with the lack of work, I guess, out on the trail. There's only one gentleman who's in charge of it. So just talking about that and the new trails, it's a county thing. He works for the county, so he's responsible for everything in the park.
Correct. And they're more almost, I wouldn't say they chase their tail, but they kind of put out fires and they pick priorities and do their best. But it's impossible for them to get everything. And it's something I'd like to approach them about is actually getting a paid trail building crew out there. They'll use ACE, which is American Conservation Experience.
Okay.
And they get grants from them, and they've come out and they do some trail work, and they've done a lot in white tanks. They're supposed to be coming to Australia.
Okay.
Hopefully we can steer them to where we'd like for them to do work.
Sure.
Also, I can't think of the other name, but there's another group organization that they get grants with.
Okay.
That they work with as well. And so it's not exclusively that one guy.
Gotcha.
But in terms of building the trail itself, yeah, that's the way it is right now.
Okay.
So that's an impossible thing for them to have.
Right. Yeah. There's way too many trails,
Yeah.
way too much
Yeah.
to cover for one person, for sure.
Yeah. So in the future, I mean, a grand plan, like a dream maybe would be able to pay, like Haas is able to pay a company to come out and build the trail for them.
Sure.
I'd love to see the county let us pay for somebody to do that, but that's a big dream. I don't know if that would ever happen. Who knows?
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Always advocating for big stuff, and then you take the little stuff as you go. So
that's the way it works, right? I think that's the number one rule in negotiation. You always start high, right? And you kind of hope for the middle at the end of the whole deal.
Yeah.
Excellent. What do you have new going on? You were telling me about a race that you're in the other day, or last week.
I was up in North Dakota, raced the it was supposed to be the 100. It ended up being the Maadahay 38 because it rained.
Yeah.
And if you've never been up there, it's beautiful. It's like no place else I've never been.
I've never hit the Dakotas. Two of the states I have not been to.
Really cool. If you can get there. The gentleman that runs the trail or does the advocacy, he's basically a trail advocate, and he goes out and mows the trail because the grass gets too tall. You can't see it.
Yep.
He mows all 100 miles of trail that he needs to, and the race it's always a blast. I've done it one other time, and this time it's great until about mile 32-ish, and then when the rain hits, that dirt there just sticks to your tires.
Sure.
And your wheels get bigger and bigger, and eventually doesn't fit through the crown, and then that's it. And you pick it off, and you ride another 10 feet, and it does it all over again. So they had to call a race, which is a bummer, but that was a blast. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Then after that, I'm not sure what's up after that.
Okay.
I'm going to pick another one.
Gotcha. Did you say you've done that one before?
Yeah, I did it one other time in 2019.
Okay.
Yeah, super fun. And it's 107 miles and like 14,000 feet of climbing, but it's all about 200 feet at a time because it just rollers all the time. It's never a straight big grand climb. There's one at the beginning, and that's it.
Gotcha.
After that, it's all single track. Everything except for 3 miles worth.
Okay.
It's all single track. It's beautiful. It's tough to get there, but it's totally worth it if it's put it on your list 100%.
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
How did you find it? How did it get on your radar?
My buddy that actually works at the bike shop.
Okay.
He's one of the owners over there, and he told me about it. He grew up there.
Okay.
It's like, we got to go do it.
Gotcha.
Okay. So it's still pretty grassroots, but it's getting a little bigger each time. I don't want to see it get too big, but it's fun.
Nice.
Really fun. Yeah.
Do you do other destination races?
That's the only one I've done recently. I did Leadville years ago.
Sure.
I used to race a little bit in Colorado, but that's where I grew up.
Okay.
But most of my riding has been down here where I really started getting into mountain biking. So most of it's just been here. I don't go too far.
Gotcha.
I don't have time. I got 2 kids, my wife and everything, so it makes it tough to go too far.
Yeah, family always comes first.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
when it comes
to the bike.
Yeah. Between work, trail work, and family, it makes it tough.
I hear you. Yeah. All right, we kind of skipped over this, glossed over it at the beginning. Just West Valley Trail Alliance. Kind of who you are and what you are. I know you'd been on the podcast maybe about a year or so ago.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
And maybe and had a little bit of that. But for anyone who maybe didn't see that podcast, why don't you give us just a tale of who you are, who you represent?
Well, the West Valley Trail Alliance is we basically work in the White Tank and the Estrella Mountains. Our core work is within the county parks. We also do work with Lost Creek Bike Club and the Estrella Cyclists, Estrella Cyclists is everything be west of the Estrella Mountain Parkway out there. There's a bunch of private trails, and there's some stuff to the east of it too. But wherever it borders the county park there. Okay. And then Lost Creek is more in the Verrado, Buckeye area. Yep. And they build a lot of trails there. Those are tough, much different type of meetings that we have with the land users or the land managers there. Okay. County parks has been our core because they're more apt to accept grants, that kind of stuff. Sure. And it's private land. You can't really get grants for that. Sometimes you can, but those are tougher. So we focus on the county parks for the most part. Okay. And initially when we started, what happened was there were some trails that were built that encroached on the county park. That was bad news. Yeah. And whether they were aware of it or not, after a while I stepped in and was asked to help out a little bit and try to do the political side of it. Yeah. It takes a lot of patience and persistence. And yeah, and that worked out. We have a great relationship with the county parks now. They're great people that work really hard, and they're overworked just like any other park system. Sure. So that's kind of where we started. And now we do trail days. Used to be they'd have to go with us on a trail day. We've done geez, I don't know how many trail days. I should probably count them all. But we've done a lot of work with both the parks, and especially in the comp tracks.
Okay.
Like Estrella. If you've ridden Estrella in the past, like say before we started about 6-7 years ago, it was rough. It was really rough, and it's still rough now, but it was much rougher then. And now it's actually a sustainable course. That's the key.
Okay.
And so that's kind of what we do. That's the long and short of it, I guess.
You've mentioned multiple times throughout just today Estrella and White Tanks, but there's a couple other parks out on the west side. Do you get involved in
Skyline has been tough. They're very hesitant.
Okay.
For when they were the way I understand it is, and I haven't been able to talk much with Buckeye about this. They had somebody build their trails initially, and I understand they were under warranty, and I don't know if they still are, which is a strange thing to warranty trails. But that's what I've been told. I don't know if that's true.
Okay.
If you're out there and you know, put a comment down there, let me know.
Right.
But they're not very receptive right now to us doing work there.
Okay.
There's another park way west, Buckeye Hills, that has no master plan. The county's asked us a couple times to maybe help out, come up with a plan. There's nothing there at all.
Gotcha.
And then this is a good point. As far as the parks themselves, all the Maricopa County parks, they're coming out at some point where they're going to do a master plan for all of them. So when that comes, that's something that's really important. That's what steers everything in the county parks.
Sure.
That's something really important to be involved with. Even right now, Goodyear, I'm sorry I'm getting off track, but
quite all right.
Goodyear right now is doing their parks master plan, and they also want to be involved with the trails themselves. And they might not be exactly mountain bike trails, but they're kind of ways of linking other trail systems, and they want to have that, which is really cool. They've asked us to be a part. We did a meeting with them a few weeks ago. They wanted to ask what we want in trails, and connectivity was a big one.
Yeah.
Let's be able to ride from A to B and make it around. So that's cool.
And this is the town of Goodyear?
Yes,
so
the city of Goodyear. Yeah, and I'll try to find
here.
those dates and I'll post it up. If you live there, even if you don't live there, public comment period's open. They have a couple meetings you go to and say what you want. And I'd love to see a bike park, like a legit bike park. Called, like, if you're familiar with Valmont, Boulder.
I'm not.
It's if you look it up, it's a really cool place. It's got little trails. It's got all different skill levels. I don't know how many acres it's on, but it's an actual bike park. It's not just BMX style.
Sure.
It's where there's trails. There is some BMX, but there's features, and there's places in Goodyear to build that. And put the comment in there and say that you want it. And, that's what steers it. That's just the way it works. Whether you like it or not, and that's just what steers the council, and that's where the commission goes, and they tell the council this is what the people want.
Yep.
So if we get 10 mountain bikers to comment 100 times, whatever you got to do, So
a write-in campaign.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent. You mentioned Haas a little bit too, and of course yourself. But are there other trail alliances, trail advocacy groups in the valley that, say for someone who's in Mesa or Gilbert and doesn't, get out to the West Valley that much? Do you know of others on the East Valley?
There's a Foothills Mountain Bike Association up the north side.
Okay.
Work in Cave Creek a lot. Haas, obviously the east side. I mean, they're the big guys. I mean,
sure.
And there's no other way to say that. They do a great job,
right.
And they have a very unique situation out there. That's fantastic.
Yep.
Good on them. They've done a great job.
Yeah.
Outside of that, there used to be Grow AZ. Grow AZ, they worked in kind of central Phoenix, South Mountain area, and they got a little frustrated with the politics, is the way I understand it, and they decided to no longer keep the organization running, which is a major bummer.
Sure.
But that's all I know of right now, and that's the key. That's probably the biggest problem. If you're not a member of some sort of organization, I highly encourage you to do so.
Gotcha.
And people go, where does the money go? Well, I can tell you with IMBA, because we're an IMBA chapter.
Right.
That goes, you give their 30, I think it's 38 now. Everything but $15 comes back to us. So IMBA takes their national stuff, and they handle our membership stuff. They also help us get our insurance, which is key. I mean, you can't do any trail work without insurance.
Sure.
So there's some stuff there that, even though that $15 doesn't come to us, they do a lot of menial work that we just can't do.
Right.
And the rest comes back to us. So, and that's the important part of being a part of an organization, so they can advocate. Like the golf course thing is perfect.
Right.
It's a great example of why am I paying for this? We may not see it like when you're out riding, but I promise that it's going somewhere that it should be. Anything, either Haas or any of those, just join up.
Yeah. Good to hear. I mean, obviously there's the whole, east and southeast valley with lots of riding, but if you don't get out to the West Valley all that much, it may feel like, we're falling on deaf ears at this point. So look around, and if you don't see anyone out there, maybe form your own.
I'm happy to help you do it. I mean,
sounds like there's a little bit of a need out that way.
There definitely is. Definitely for the East Valley parks. I think so, yeah.
Excellent. All right. What else? Anything else that the West Valley Trail Alliance can highlight right now? Any of the work that you're doing?
Really, I'm excited to start working with NICA.
Okay.
That'll be cool. We've had other high school teams come out and reach out to us to
Yeah.
set up trail days, but I've never had an organization specifically reach out to us, which is cool.
Yeah.
And that's a good first step, because I think a lot of the kids, when they come out, they have a blast.
Sure.
And you tell them to dig, and they'll start digging like crazy. So you got to be careful. You got to rein them in a little bit, but they understand. Like,
Right.
a few of them, if it sticks with one, and they start to realize that, hey, trails don't just build themselves. I mean, this little feature that wasn't there last week, or there's a big rut there last week, and now it's filled in. It didn't do it by itself. Somebody
Right.
came out here and took the time to plan a day and get people with tools out. I'm really looking forward to that.
Cool.
We're going to have a Take a Kid mountain biking day.
Okay.
With out at what is it? The Spokes and Ale event, I think, is at the White Tanks.
Okay. Sure.
And we had a Take a Kid mountain biking day there, and that was a huge turnout. We had like almost too many kids. It's the
Wow.
most I've seen. We had 50, 60 kids out there riding around.
Okay.
There's a little beginner loop
Yeah.
up to the southeast
Sure.
side that we helped build that
Okay.
when it first was open, and that'll be a good one. That'll be sometime in January. I can't remember. I might be wrong on the date on that. I'll have to look
Okay.
it up. But yeah, that'll be a good one. And then the trail days, like I say, the best way to find it is the trail days. I mean, our website's a little behind, so Facebook
Okay.
will be where we put most of that stuff, and
Okay.
Instagram, that kind of thing. The website, I got to catch up on that. I do all
Sure.
that stuff too. So
I hear you.
yeah.
Since we're on it, why don't you give everybody the Facebook and Instagram handles?
Facebook, Instagram is just West Valley Trails.
Okay.
And then Facebook, what is Facebook? And then it's West Valley Trail Alliance, and that's
Gotcha.
it. Yeah. And then the website's super easy, just westvalleytrailalliance.org.
Very cool. Yeah, with that, with the NICA thing, I think it's probably an important thing as well, is showing the kids that a proper organization is doing it. It wasn't just like two guys with shovels who came out here
Yeah,
that
it's a
night and
good
built the
point.
feature,
Yeah.
and then everyone kind of wrote it and made it happen. That it's there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do
Yeah,
it, right?
that's a really good point. Yeah.
Especially, I guess, in a county park, right, where there's government.
Yeah.
If you have anything government official related, you don't want to go out there and start messing with stuff,
Yeah,
because
they're very specific in how they want their work done, and we bend the rules maybe just a tiny bit. But they've been very happy with our work and just trying to follow what they want. They have different specifications, but
sure,
yeah, so
that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, make sure you let us know. I'm sure.
Will do.
I'm sure we'd
Absolutely.
love to lend a hand on that too.
Yeah, we'd love to have you come out.
Awesome. Well, I think we've got another race going out there in a couple of weeks now.
Yeah.
Our Vertigo night runs. It's night races. Excuse me. The runs will be Saturday. So for those of you who do run, there's a running event on Saturday, but the mountain bikes go Friday. Get my days straight here. Registration is still open, so that's a event that you can still join if you're interested. And we'll be doing the Sonoran competitive loop there, minus the technical side.
Yeah.
But we do include that beginner loop actually. So I don't know if
do
you were
you
aware
really?
of that. Yeah,
I
so
didn't know that.
they do it a full clockwise loop on the competitive loop, and when they come down and hit the parking lot, we steer them through the parking lot, and they hang a left. They actually do it in reverse, like
Okay.
reverse
Yeah.
of what the signs
Yeah.
say. And it's just like we kind of make them do like this is the largest perimeter of
It's
of the
barely
loop
a mile,
itself.
I think. Yeah.
And they come back into the parking lot, and then they head through the start finish again. So whether whether they're there for the single lap or multiple hours of doing it, they'll hit that every single time they go through. So it's kind of fun. It's difficult to course mark because it's really windy and there's a lot of trails that intersect.
Yeah, there are back there. Yeah.
But it's definitely an interesting way to finish because you have this not so technical trail, right? It's a pretty decent. There's some washes at the beginning to kind of get through. You have the kind of a technical climb with the switchbacks over the North Mountain there at the backside.
Yeah. Well, you guys
And then of
use
course
that part.
Yes, yeah, we go through.
Really?
Yep, the full thing. So we, that's probably about the only really technical piece. Like everything else is rideable.
Yeah.
Some folks still have a little trouble, myself included.
That backside can get pretty sketchy.
Yep. If you don't find the line coming back down the other side, it can be easy to get off of it and just kind of get into your head about making it over that little roller.
Yeah.
But then you hit the last maybe 2 miles or so, which is pretty smooth and flat and slightly downhill, so you can get some nice speed in.
Very fast.
And then we kick you off into the beginner beginner
Yeah.
loop, and then it's just kind of flat and it's a beginner loop, right?
Yeah.
So for anyone who's ridden a bike more than twice, it's like, whoa, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Kick you around for about a mile and then bring you back through the parking lot. So it's definitely a different course, a little bit more terrain than on the last race that we did, which was in Usury, which is fairly smooth trail all the way through that particular course. This one has a little bit more terrain in it, but it's one that most people I think look forward to. We'll be introducing a juniors loop this time around.
excellent.
So it's our first year kind of offering that category, 8 to 14.
Oh, very cool.
They're the only ones who won't do that climb at the end.
Yeah.
So where the trails kind of come in close,
Stay to
we
the
have
right
our
there.
aid. We have our aid station, and we'll kick them over to the right.
Yeah.
They don't have to do the climb; they'll just do the first and the
I'll have
second.
to maybe I'll bring my son. I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
for sure. Yeah, it's brand new. I think we've got only like about half a dozen people registered, but we've got a couple more weeks before the race comes, so we'll get some more in there.
When is the race again?
It is the 13th.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, that's this weekend. It is the 19th of August.
Excellent.
So. The 13th is our Big Woody race up in Flagstaff. That's the date I'm crossing.
Yeah, I
up.
wish I could go.
That's this Saturday.
Yeah.
That'll be a fun one too. Vertigo will be definitely another exciting night race out there. We have a pretty good time, and I don't think you've come into any of our night races yet.
I haven't been able to. No, I'm going to go to the last one. I was working, but I definitely need to go.
We've got to get you out there, even if it's bringing you back to the east side for the last one in September.
I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Pemberton's a fun one too. So that's the last race in September. But if I know this one's closer to you, White Tank, so we'll try and get you out there as well. Who knows? All right. That's I think all that we have for our podcast today. Join us Mondays. We do group rides at South Mountain. We meet every Monday at 6:30 at the Pima Canyon Trailhead for just a group ride. We're out there for about an hour, maybe 45 minutes, hour and 15 minutes. Excuse me. Go the other way in the clock there. Fun ride, and then we do a social over at Fate Brewing in Tempe.
Cool.
So that's kind of a fun thing to do as well. And there will be a Vertigo pre-ride coming up this Sunday, the 14th. This Sunday before each of the Insomniac races, I'll do a daytime pre-ride so that if you've never ridden the course, you can see it once at least during the day.
Yeah.
Come out with us. Again, it's another fun no drop. You kind of ride with a group, have a good time, and get to see the course in the daylight before we send you out there at night.
We did that in Australia.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. You came out and did that. So. We'll be doing that this Sunday, the 14th, and of course, Vertigo will be the following Friday, the 19th. Any last words for our listeners?
No, I just if you're a mountain bike rider, especially in the Phoenix Valley, you see all the houses, all that more extra people. The trails are going to be more crowded, so you need a voice. I'd prefer you to join ours, but if you're not on the west side, join the organization because it's going to be really important as more and more people show up. So do that.
Excellent. Good final words. Let us know. We'll put those trail dates up there. We'll make sure that we tag them as well on our socials so that everyone can see them. Get as many people out there as possible. They'll be starting up roughly when? I think you told me the fall, but
yeah, right now. It's tough. We don't do them right now. Many trail days now. It's just because it's so
way too hot.
Yeah, it's too hot, and you don't get a good turnout. So we want to have something where it's an enjoyable event. So it'll probably start January would be the first one, maybe even two.
Okay. Some more winter.
Might even be a couple before that. I'm sure there will be because it'll be cool enough by then.
Sure.
Yeah. Hopefully it rains like this then too because it's great trail work. And when it's raining like this, it'd be
really
great.
easy to dig.
Yeah. Maybe you can actually shape stuff and, make it better. So
very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if there's anything else too regarding the golf course expansion, what's going on that side, make sure you let Aravaipa know, and we can certainly put notices up. And if we need more people to show up at these meetings, we can do that too.
Yeah, that's a critical part of the process. If you're looking for the website, if you go to the Maricopa County Parks, they didn't put it very prominent. But if you go to Straya's page and you go down to news, there's a little thing on there about them, about what they're doing. So if you want to stay up to date on your own, but we'll share it too. So.
Perfect. All right, Brian.
Excellent.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. That's fun.
And maybe we'll do it again sometime.
Sounds good, man.
All right, thanks.
Appreciate it. Yep.